Hey everybody, Tim Sackett with, HRU Technical Resources. I always like to tell people it's a company my mother started. What I forget to tell people is that I actually own the company now. So, it's all me, hrutech.com. It's not all me. Like I'm the owner, I'm the CEO. It's like the hair club for president, like men kind of thing. I'm a user and I'm the president. But no, we do technical placement, and I have a great team. And I always tell people I would put my team up in a competition against anybody else because I think that our technology and our people are better. JLee, doesn't every staffing vendor that ever calls you say the same thing?
They all say the same thing. They all want to know
the best.
Yes. Everyone's the best. They are the best.
Yes. But we are.
But they don't have the triple Timmy touch, philosophy. They send you one email and then that's it. That's it.
That's it. You get more than one email. You get caught in the nurture hell email train of 45 emails. And then, somehow they just finally give up or, that runs out of whatever the campaign is. So anyways.
Triple Timmy touch. Good for candidates. Good for biz dev.
Triple Timmy touch Tuesday, or whatever Katie likes to call it, hrutech.com. We're going to get on with the show. Hey everybody, it's Tim Sackett. We're back with another edition, episode 53. I only know that because we just did our year episode 52. So now I know it's hey, episode 53. We're 1 year into this thing, JLee. And today it's just you and I, no KD. He's out on medical leave today. We can't, and because of HIPAA violations and rules, we can't talk about why
who
he's
approved his leave of absence. I don't know. There was no doctor's note and documentation. How do we know it's really medical leave?
Before we allow him come back, we'll have to have that doctor's note.
A doctor's release. That's right.
Actually,
we're HR.
Technically, I think he's on FMLA, right?
You know what? Actually, speaking of FMLA, so my first HR job, I did a lot of leave coordination and leave management. And then at one point I was applying for a job elsewhere and the interviewer kept calling it FMLA. And I didn't know what she was talking about because I had never heard someone call it FMLA, just like you guys had never heard crow. And I botched the whole interview because I didn't understand she was talking about FMLA because she kept saying FMLA. And that has actually stuck with me. She must have thought I was a complete idiot and I lied on my resume.
I don't think you are. The first time I ever heard that was Chris. I sent him something. I wrote something on FMLA, and he's like, "Never write about FMLA again." And I was like, "What is FMLA?" I've never heard that.
Sounds like a product, FMLA.
Yeah,
the stuff.
So Jay, what have you been up to lately? What are you watching?
I have an obsession right now. My family, we've become part of the BTS Army, and I'm not joking. I just watch BTS videos all the time. YouTube, I downloaded this app that has original Korean content and they have BTS videos for days and I'm obsessed.
So BTS is a K-pop group for those, the uninitiated, as KD would like to say. He's here right now. He's channeling through me. I actually am a real big fan of K-pop myself. Again, but all the groups seem the music, the sounds the same, right? So I couldn't tell you, if you give me two songs, I couldn't tell you what group they were from.
Well, it's confusing too, because are there sounds that distinct? Because there's this one group my husband was telling me about the other day that literally has 20 members in the group. It's insane.
I want to talk about that.
20 members. What is that? That's it's a fraternity.
I'll try to find the article and I'll have to send it to you because there's someone did this big in-depth expose on K-pop where they broke down, because a lot of these groups, they're the US boy band kind of group. There was a formula how do you put
they've got
together.
Factories.
Yeah, and they do. So and some of these have sometimes dozens and dozens of members where they plug and play depending on where they're going into concert or what they were doing. You would have. And they all have a role. You could be lead dancer. Yep. And then you might be backup lead dancer. But you also might be lead singer or you might be background vocalist. It's so insane of how they kind of put these pieces together to make really kind of good manufactured music.
Totally. I mean, it's like they figure out a good staffing model for their boy band, but I'm telling you, the whole like factory of it, like people start as trainees, you go to trainee schools, you live in a dormitory, you like hone your skills, you find what you're going to be. You're going to be a rapper, a dancer, a singer, or whatever. And it's crazy. Like they all start as
Yeah.
trainees. It's
Yeah. And then there's even like, there's like the within the role, because you could be rapper, you could be lead rapper, you could be like junior rapper, like depending on where you're going. But not only that, they also have certain people in the group, their lead role is to be like the fashionista person. Like you're the fashion person, or you're the good looking one.
Yeah, totally the case. And then a lot of the groups will also have someone who's like the translator as they get out into like non-Korean media. But I'm so proud. Like I'm not obsessed with them, like, because I have crushes on these kids. Like I'm like a big sister, like taking a big sister role is what I've realized, where I'm like really proud of them. And I think they're so cute. Like they just make my heart very full. It's just amazing how influential you've become. It's nuts.
I love that. I'm always envious of you, because you do have such a strong tie to, like, you really want to promote Korean culture. And I love that. And you have, obviously you're raising Korean kids in the US, but you're also very American. Like you love America as well. And you can have both of those things simultaneously. I sent you, because of that, because of your love for like Korean, promoting Korean culture and all that, I sent you an article about Norwegian parents adopting Korean kids.
Yeah.
It's not, but the article was about, it doesn't matter if you go and let's say you're adopted or you're born to, it's the whole nature versus nurture argument of, if you have rich parents, are you more likely to be rich? And what they showed was, even to the point where if you adopt Korean kids into a rich Norwegian family, they're going to turn out to be rich.
Yeah. You know what that tells us, though? I've always had a lot of admiration for people who adopt or foster kids. Like their love is love, and like they want to like bring, children into the world and rear them regardless of where the children came from. Like to be able to adopt children, I just think you're a saint. That's amazing.
I agree. I mean, I had 3 of my own kids and I don't want any more. And like, I see people that were like, they have like my grandmother, right? She had 4 of her own daughters and adopted a 5th. And you're just like, wow, how could you do all of that? I think is really crazy. I do. I think to me, it's amazing that, I mean, I think it makes sense, right? Because if you think of like, if you and I had money, right? Let's just say we had money.
I wish I had.
I mean, we're going to try to give our kids every advantage, right? We're going to try to put them in the best schools, and we're getting in the best training, and maybe send them to the best universities. And so we're putting them on that path. They have the privilege of being, with wealthy parents. So to me, it's like, yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. It seems like that would be the case. I think what the researchers were trying to prove was the racism aspect of it. Like, wait a minute, we're in this really, I mean, have you ever been to Norway? I've never
No, but super homogenous, right?
Super homogenous. I think it's pretty much white people for the most part. And so I think they were saying like, hey, if you brought in a Korean person or a Black person into this culture, they're probably going to struggle with the same advantages because of who they are. And they were like, no, it turns out it doesn't happen that way, which you could either say, hey, great for Norway for being accepting no matter what, or just great for being rich, right? I'm not sure which one. You could
also say like Koreans are pretty lovable. Like what's not to love? So maybe that's part of it. Like, why would you reject a little Korean? Like we're awesome. Koreans are lovable. Look at K-pop. It's blowing up. Everyone loves a Korean. I've never we all kind of secretly hate the North Korean dictator, but he's like kind of a caricature, even though he's also committing human rights violations among other things. But in general, Koreans are lovable.
But I think like if I had a chance to go visit with Kim Jong-un, like I think we would party. I think he would be a fun guy to party with.
Of course, look at his relationship with Rodman. That's because there's some partying happening.
I know. We could watch like the NBA playoffs and have fun. Again, the guy's a complete crazy dictator, but besides all the human atrocities, I think he would be fun to hang with.
Did we joke about like he was like swimming in like COVID vaccine? He probably just hoarding
Yeah.
it,
Oh
swimming in
yeah.
a pool of the
And so
vaccine.
like, cause it was, yeah, I think like the United Nations or someone sent him like 1 million doses of vaccine and he didn't give any of those
No,
out.
no. Fun guy though. Fun guy. Likes the
We,
NBA.
we think, we think he's a fun guy. We don't know. All right, let's go on to our first topic. So there was an article in the BBC. Do you ever listen to like the BBC on NPR, like in the morning, like the BBC Hour or anything like that?
Sometimes, yeah, I love BBC.
I'm just fascinated because I always tell people like that I know my like European friends, like, you could do it. You could sell anything in the US because we're all idiots for that,
Accent.
the accent. And so I love listening to like the BBC Hour and just hearing whatever, like they make the world's atrocities seem so much better because of their accent. So there was an article on BBC.com, CEO secrets, my £1 billion company. Now we're not talking about weight. We're talking about the English pound.
Mm-hmm.
My £1 billion company has no HR department. So Greg Jackson, the founder of CEO of Octopus Energy, which is a UK startup. Well, it's not like a real startup. I think it was founded about 5 years ago, but already 2 billion in value in value. So it's not necessarily revenue yet, but they already have over 1,200 employees and hiring like crazy. Says he has no interest in traditional things like human resources, HR, or information technology, IT departments. And then he goes on to talk about, kind of a bunch of different things, but it's all about like his distaste for command and control. And he thinks like that his people should just, that you just empower your people, JLee, and they'll do just fine. They'll figure out the HR and the IT side of the world. Reaction.
I want to take a break real quick just to let you know about a new show we've just added to the network. Up Next at Work, hosted by Gene and Kata Keel of the Devon Group. Fantastic show. If you're looking for something that pushes the norm, pushes the boundaries, has some really spirited conversations, Google Up Next at Work, Gene and Kata Keel from the Devon Group.
You know what I wonder is he must have someone in his life, his wife, a sister, a brother, a cousin who is an HR person, because there ain't no way he's running this thing on his own without any kind of advice or guidance from someone. Like you got to be phoning a friend, especially at that size of a company, to help like figure out how to navigate this stuff. I call BS. And I also take offense to the fact that he calls HR like a traditional thing that's not needed. You just have never met us. That's the problem. He's never met us.
He's never met us. I think like I want to go and I want to say, okay, what if we didn't really have HR? How would you do the organization differently? And so one is I call BS right away, right? So I pull up his website and of course he's got a learning development specialist open. He has tons of IT openings. I can only imagine, like I have a small company and like when I decided to get a MacBook instead of like a PC, like my IT like outside service that we used like lost their minds. Like I was jumping off of the normal kind of protocol and getting my own thing. And that was going to cause so much problems. Can you imagine every department doing their own IT thing? Like
oh my
what
gosh.
operational software? Like, oh, I don't like Outlook. We're going to use Gmail. Like, are you kidding me? Like there has to be some sense of organization, right?
There has to be. Well, and then what about like information security, things like privacy? Like you're trying to get like hacked into, like have data leaks? Like I don't understand.
So it brings up a lot of questions. But then also I did go look through and there was no recruiting, no HR positions. The only HR considered position was this learning development specialist position, which I'm going, I guess if you had no HR department, you're going to have exceptional leadership training to even make it. Cause like, again, like how do you, they could probably hire, right? They could go out and use their network and find people and interview and fumble their way through. It just seems like a gigantic lawsuit waiting to happen. If not already happening. Like it seems like all you would do if you're not, by the way, just as just like a pro tip, if you have no IT department and no HR department, double down on your legal department.
I know. Actually, I was thinking like he must have a monstrous legal department to manage stuff, but like he's got to be outsourcing things. Like there's no way that he's just doing all this stuff on his own.
Well, and I will say, like, I mean, that's a pretty traditional thing in the UK is to outsource your recruiting, right? So that they do, they do a lot of that. So that side of it, I can see working in the UK. The regular HR stuff, I don't. It does make me think, JLee, like we see you and I, like, because we constantly are trying to find content to talk about and different things, and we see these leaders that will go on BBC or Fortune or Forbes or Wall Street, whatever. And they say stuff that you go, there's no way they really think that. Like, is it just that, like, is it one of those things where when you get a camera stuck in front of your face or a microphone or whatever, like you feel like you have to be and say something that is not true just to like act like you're something special? Like I get the feeling like this dude, Greg, is it Greg Jackson or Gary? Greg Jackson of Octopus Energy. I get the feeling like he was just trying to like make himself sound like something special. Like, hey, we're not Google, but here's what I do,
Looking for a headline. It's the sound bites. But we should invite him on. Like, I would love to hear more about like why
just listen to his accent.
Well, yes. And then I'm sure I'll just be like blown away that he's brilliant with his ideas. But
I know.
Yeah. No, but so I was talking to a friend recently who has a business, is a small business owner, and they've been dealing with some HR issues. And it's interesting. Like she was asking, like, at what point should she like hire an HR person? Like at what size? And like right now, I think she's like at 20 employees. And so it's like even at that size, you're starting to grapple with some of these issues. So at the size of 1,200, there's no way that you don't have an HR person. Just complete BS.
So this week I was in Sanibel on the beach, and I'm not a big reader. I'm not like a Katie voracious, like, get a book a week kind of thing. But like, if I have time, I'd love to sit down with a good book. And I had the book, The Hard Things About Hard Things. I think it's Horowitz is the author. And he talked about starting a startup that he had done and how he was kind of on this rocket ship, and that he hired a recruiter after only having 9 employees.
Wow.
But he knew he had to add like, it was like 30 people a month or whatever, in terms of the VC money. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Like that whole answer or that question you said about when do we add an HR person? I mean, Sherm always has those numbers. It's like 100 to 150 employees per, you have an HR person, but like when you hire the first HR person is always different, right?
Yeah. That always feels late to me though, like to have, I feel like at least if you're US based, definitely before you have 50 people, or you gotta have, like when you start, like all the employment law starts kicking in, like you gotta be able to manage that.
50. Yeah. If you're California based, that's the first person you hire.
That's right. Because they're that important. We're so important.
Yeah. So speaking of hiring, we're gonna we have the big stimulus thing, right? We're taping this on a Thursday. I think the hope is that Congress will have the stimulus passed on a Friday. JLee, I've had 2 restaurant owners that I'm friends with reach out to me, partly because they were like, we need to hire some folks as we start to open up. Michigan went from like 25% to 50%, and then there's kind of a plan to open up even more. And they're just like, we're already hearing because of the $1,400 and the extended unemployment and all this stuff, people don't want to come back to work. As a service provider, and Marriott is, are you hearing that from your chains at all? Are you hearing like this is going to be a tough time to hire people?
Well, you know what's so crazy? I'm having a moment of deja vu because we had this whole dialogue, like how many months ago with the last round, and like doing math around like, when is it more advantageous to stay at home? And I just also am like, oh my gosh, this still isn't over. And we're talking about this again. And it's just like, isn't that crazy? We're still talking about these issues. But you know what I wonder for restaurants, like with the example you gave of like your friends who are restaurant owners, or the people you know who are restaurant owners, it's like part of it is like the conditions in which people are having to come back to work and like do they want to be in those conditions? And I think that there's like a real thing there. Like if you liked working in a restaurant beforehand, like the thing that you liked was like that customer engagement, right? And like the energy and buzz of a restaurant environment. And like, there's culinary aspects where like you might like food and you want to be in that environment. Like all that magic is lost. And so like, I don't think it's strictly a financial issue in some situations where it's like, it's not worth it for the cost to come back. It's like the environment is not the same. Like you are putting yourself at risk by being in the front line and you're only paid so much. And then you have this other thing hanging out there of like a potential stimulus check and like extended unemployment benefits. And it's like, you add all those things up and like, I kind of get it. Like, I understand why people may feel that way. Like the combination of all those things, it's kind of crazy.
Have you and Bobby J been out to a real restaurant in the last?
Oh, okay. So no, but I'll tell you. So like I've only gone to a restaurant 2 times in the past year, like to sit down and eat. And the second time was actually, I haven't told you about the second time was this week. My boss was like, hey, like you want to have lunch today? So I was like, actually, I'm going to meet you for lunch. And I am so awkward. I don't know how to be in public and be with people. Like I did, like when I saw him, I was like, am I going to give him a hug? I haven't seen him in a year. And like, he gave me an elbow bump right away. But like even in the restaurant, it was like a fast casual. So like they, like at the counter we ordered, and then they gave us 2 sets of individually wrapped silverware. And now I'm going to sound like an idiot, but like, I don't know. I think I'm just accustomed to like a man or someone carrying my stuff to the table. Like, why don't I have to lift things? You're the man, do the gentlemanly thing. And so like, I just walked away after like we paid and he put the silverware out, and he was like, hey, you got to grab your own silverware. Like, I'm not touching it for you. Like, you got to, like, there's germs, like pick up your own stuff. And I'm so awkward. I don't even know how to be in public with people. So that's my second outing at a restaurant. I'm so weird. I don't even know how to act.
We were in Florida, which is, it's almost like a different country at this point because I mean, I know Mississippi and Texas like lifted their mask mandates and stuff like this. Florida did. I don't think they have, or I don't even know if they never had one, but it's like, you just go down there and it's a free for all. So we ate out like literally twice a day for, like 4 or 5 days in a row at restaurants. And I get stuck in that thing of, my wife, is a medical kind of professional person. And so she's like all in on the hand sanitizer and face mask and all this stuff. And when we flew, like we doubled masked, did the whole thing. But like, I constantly get out of the car and I start walking to the restaurant with no mask on. She yells at me, put your mask on. It just seems like so stupid. As like from my car, 50 feet to the front door, I sit down 7, 10 feet, 20 feet later, and then I take the mask off and I'm like, really? Did I get protected in the 35 feet from my car to the table?
Yes, you did. Of course you did. Of course you did. You just never know. I can't imagine eating out twice a day. It's like culture shock. But like, even with that restaurant experience, the ambiance is different. It's like weird being in a restaurant right now. And I feel like if you're a restaurant worker, service professional, like it's got to be weird. It's not as appealing.
So my birthday was in February, and so my wife and I went out for dinner in a movie. So we actually went to a theater, which was a weird experience. Plus, like, we get back to this whole staffing thing with the stimulus and all this. Like, so we go in and there's only 2 people. This is like a 20 screen theater. There's only 2 people working that I can see. I'm sure there's probably a handful of others. But, they do the whole thing where they sell the tickets and your concessions, everything all in one location, right? So it's all, you go right up to the concession stand, buy your ticket, buy your food. But they changed it where now you get to select your seat. Like, I'm just going to sit here and here. And then they have like the social distancing stuff. But I'm like, we had to wait in line for a while. And at first you're fine because you're kind of like, wow, we haven't been to a movie in like a year. And this is popcorn, the smells and everything. But quickly my wife was like, they're understaffed. When are they going to get staffed correctly? And I'm like, how long is it going to take us to get back to that mentality of being pissed off that we had to wait like for dinner? There's only so many tables allowed, and you had to wait in line because they weren't staffed correctly. Because traditionally in the service industry, you staff for the business you want, right? Not the business you have. And if you're understaffed and people are waiting, they're not going to come back. And is there even that? Is there a risk right now of that? Like, I'm like, or do people not even care?
I don't know. I also wonder, like, some of it is people may not want to work in those environments, but maybe they've also moved on to jobs in other kinds of industries or settings where maybe there's less risk. And so when it comes to people having trouble like hiring, I also think that there's some of it, some of that too. Like people don't want to be in certain industries because it's risky. People don't want to be in certain environments because it's risky, and then layer in, stimulus and unemployment, and what a mess. It's going to be hard for folks to get staff back up in certain industries. I just think it's going to be tough.
I know. I found out March 22nd, I can get my vaccine shot in Michigan.
That's exciting.
That's when my whatever, kind of how they break it down. That's when I'm eligible. Now, will I actually get in there? Because we take off for Utah, like a week later. So I don't know if I'll be able to get it before I go to Utah. I hope I do, because I'd feel more comfortable flying with a vaccine than not. But
yeah,
either way.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, this is round 2 of stimulus checks. This is yet again more extended unemployment. I just hope that some of this happens more smoothly. Stimulus checks, I feel like people didn't really have as many issues with like receiving them, but my God, the unemployment issues that people are still facing, like, can we please get this ironed out? State, let's do this. It's a mess.
All right. So what we learned today was you do need an HR department. You just need the right HR people like JLee and I. You definitely need an IT department. And, hey, go out to eat when you can. The restaurant industry needs you for sure, right?
We also learned that, like, what's not to like about Koreans, like whether it's,
very pro-Korean
adopted Koreans, K-pop bands. I mean, I got a lot of pride for Korea. We could spend a whole episode or longer talking about what makes Korea so great.
We'll have producer Cam throw in a BTS video into the liner notes so people can check that out.
Yes. Yeah. Or you know what? Let's put in the liner notes the Time Entertainer of the Year 2020 BTS. I mean, that's pretty big, people.
Very big.
Very big.
All right. So for Jessica Lee and myself, Tim Sackett, we will invite our FMLA compadre, our FEMLA compadre, Chris Dunn, back next week. Everybody, thanks for listening. This is HR Famous, and we are out.